I want to talk about what I think might be one of the hottest stocks in 2025. I think it's very quiet on the quiet end. Not the entire world is going to talk about it. Maybe the entire world will never talk about it. But I think it's going to offer an opportunity that, if it plays out how some people think it's going to play out, is going to offer a lot of volatility, a lot of opportunity, and hopefully a lot of money made. So, Fannie Mae, FNMA. If you watched our channel enough, you've heard us talk about the stock many, many times for different reasons, but the main reason would be that it just offers breakout after breakout after breakout after breakout, right? Not one, not two, not three, not four, but now 5 times this has offered a breakout that most people in Clover who are long biased breakout traders have crushed this stock long numerous times over and over, including myself, including Dom, including Huddy. Now, that's great and wonderful, but that's not why I'm here to make this video. Yes, I did buy this breakout over 366, which we'll talk about in a second, but why did this breakout happen is much more important to the topic of this video, okay? Because if you notice here, it was doing nothing in the mid twos for at least a few weeks and really cooled off from its last breakout in November. And then it kind of came out of nowhere, right? There's this huge spike. Why did that spike happen? Well, if you do some digging, there's a tweet from Bill Ackman. He is a hedge fund manager, to those who don't know. He does a lot of different things. He's a very big public figure. And for those who don't know, for the simplicity of this, he runs a hedge fund. He has a portfolio. He invests in stocks, obviously. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you can go ahead and find his Twitter page and find his tweet from, I think, December 30th it was on. He pretty much talks about how he has owned Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for, more than a decade. Right, and they're trading around its average cost. And right at this moment, when he made that tweet, Fannie Mae, again, was around $2.50, okay? And if you notice here, in the previous time it's been trading, almost all of 2022 and 2023, it was down at 50 cents. So he was quite down a lot of money. However, he then goes into detail talking about why he's owned it from the first place. And the point is, long story short, is that he thinks Donald Trump is going, or the Donald Trump administration at least, is going to take Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out of conservatorship. Now, what is conservatorship? He talks about it right here: successful emergence of from conservatorship would generate more than $300 billion in additional profits, yada, yada, yada. If you look back at Fannie Mae's charts, okay, we're looking at 2025 and the 2020s. If we go back to 2008, when the housing crisis happened, Fannie Mae was a $60, $70, $80 stock. Why? Because it was still, like it is today, a predominant leader and most common kind of loan processor. I don't even know if that's not the correct word, but they do a massive amount of loans in the United States of America, and their stock price reflected it, right? But when 2008 happened and the housing crisis hit, so did their stock. In order to stay alive and continue to operate business as usual, or how they'd want to, the government and the what's it called? I looked it up for us here. The Federal Housing Finance Agency put them in conservatorship. So essentially, it kind of in essence, or in a very dumbed down way, it kind of, I don't want to say puts them in timeout, but it just kind of takes over, right? And obviously, naturally, the amount of profits they receive in doing so, is not going to be reflected as it once was. Hence, the stock price is down, numerous percentages, so 90% plus off where it was once trading, okay? But Bill Ackman here is saying, hey, if it's been, 2025 now, it's been, 13 to 14, 15 years, 15 years plus really, since this has happened. What if we can get Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out of this conservatorship, bring them back to where they were prior to 2008, because things are much more regulated, much more just better looked over and overwatched now. What if we can get that out of conservatorship? Again, it would bring $300 billion in additional profits to the federal government, yada, 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 so forth and so forth. So in doing so, you have to wonder, right, what if the Trump administration does get that done? What if that does happen? Well, again, we know what it would do financially. Again, Bill Ackman talks about it. But again, from a technical standpoint, does it go back to 50, 60 immediately? Probably not. But if it's at 5 and it's going to start operating once again where it once was, why isn't 20, 30, or even 40 out of the question? And I'm not necessarily saying that's the price targets like it has to go to, but again, you see why him just tweeting that alone on this day brought it from 250 to 330 or 340. And now Bill Ackman's not the only one to bring this to our attention. You'll notice this run here from, practically the 140s gapping up on November 6th into the 180s and then running all the way to the mid 3s over the next week or two. It's no coincidence that it gapped up on November 6th when Trump won the election. So Bill Ackman's not the only one who's been looking out and knowing that the Trump administration might be able to get this done and do this. Clearly other people were involved, and it caused a run once Trump winning the election was a for sure thing. And obviously, since Bill Ackman's tweeting that, it's bringing more momentum back into the stock. People are maybe trying to start forecasting the fact that, they rather buy it before it actually happens. Now, granted, you actually take the risk of it not happening, right? There's a chance Fannie Mae can just keep running and running and running in anticipation that it's going to happen. And you have to account for a chance that, what if the Trump administration doesn't get the job done? Well, then it might sell off pretty hard. So it is a risk you take, but nonetheless, people are very forecasting. Investors are very forward looking. And so naturally, the hype is here to stay for now, and it held for a couple days and then immediately broke out. I did buy this breakout over 366 on Friday. Okay. I then added more size into the close, or I should say towards midday into late day here. If we go back later in the day, as it started holding and basing here, I started buying, especially over this 430 level. You kind of see, if I zoom in here, you kind of see there's this mini double top within the intradaily chart. I started buying as it perked and popped over this 430 level, and then closed even higher in the mid fours, about 448, 449-ish, 447-ish. Let's call it 450, make it simple, right? Next day, being the Monday over the weekend, gaps up to 460, runs immediately straight to 5. I sell all my shares by 509. Best sells, earliest sells was 475. Best sells were like 409, 509, 510. Ultimately, after all said and done, I locked in just over 50 grand on this breakout. So one of the bigger long trades in my career. Again, Fannie Mae has usually offered my bigger long trades in my career. It's not every day I'm being able to go long a stock, feel this confident about a breakout, and make that much money. But on Fannie Mae, I'm able to do so because it has a very strong catalyst behind it. Now, obviously, Fannie Mae did eventually pull back. That's why I like locking in profits. Because you could argue, say, well, if you think it's going back to 10, 20, 30, why sell at 5? Well, because I'm a trader, right? I'm not an investor. Sorry, disclaimer, I have no investment long-term interest in Fannie Mae. I kind of wish I did, right? I kind of wish I was long some, in a longer term account from, let's call it like the ones or even the mid twos, right? When the news came out, but I don't. So I'm sticking to my guns as a trader. I will continue to trade these breakouts as they come. Knock on wood, let's hope this consolidates for a bit. And then as, the inauguration is coming up and Trump actually gets into office, it could happen quick. Like let's hypothetically play out. What happens if, let's say Fannie Mae is still trading under $10, let's call it. And all of a sudden they're like, yep, we're gonna get this done. Who knows what kind of volatility and opportunity that could lead to. So it's certainly a stock to keep on my watch list for pretty much most, if not all of 2025. It's something to keep an eye out for, maybe any more Bill Ackman tweets and just general news on this scenario, because this is a very unique, opportunistic scenario that doesn't happen every day, right? It doesn't happen really ever. It'll be kind of the first of its kind, seeing a company like this kind of get the veil lifted off, so to speak, to kind of enter back into where it once was, which was much, much higher than where it is now. And actually, you can see if we look at let's look at the dash chart. It's actually better to view. In terms of a technicals perspective, even if you didn't look at any of the news, the entire time Fannie Mae has been in this conservatorship, it's always topped out around this 4, 5, at the highest, like 6s level, right? We've had a few tops. None of them are at the same price, but they're all different prices. And finally, we're starting to enter that range again. So it's a matter of, hey, is this another long-term top where it just fades right back like it has? Or is the fundamental kind of thesis and news that's surrounding this company for the next year or 4 years, maybe, Trump could technically do it in later in his term. He doesn't have to do it year one. But if it does, like, this looks like a very technically big breakout level, like, especially once it gets over, the 6s where it's the highest it's ever been. So I could ramble all day long about this, but essentially this is one of the main stocks I'll be watching for most of 2025 and going forward, if nothing ever changes on the news, because as long as that, that forward-looking catalyst is there, this could continue to get more attention, more volume, more buyers, and we just might continue to see really, really awesome breakouts like we've been seeing. So that's it for the video. Without further ado, guys, leave in the comments if you've played Fannie Mae before in the past, if you're even watching it, if it's even your thing, right? It's not the only thing that's moving. There's tons of other hot stocks in the market that we talk about all the time in the Clover Trading Chat Room with daily watches, etc. So this is just one of the many stocks we're talking about, but this one certainly has a compelling story and catalyst behind it. So let us know in the comments if you're watching as well. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks so much. Bye.